Hi, everyone. I am Lisa Kastner, and this is another Run Wild with Us, Ask Us Anything. I'm Lisa Kastner. I am the founder and executive editor of Running Wild Press. I'm normally here with Chris Major, one of our amazing editors. Chris is running a little bit late right now. No big deal. So, for those of you who may not have attended one of these before or joined us before, basically, this is a live event. It's streamed on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube. And you get to ask us whatever you want. We may or may not answer. We'll find out, depending on what your questions are. So, usually the questions are around publishing, writing, creative writing, the business of writing, storytelling, that kind of thing. So, uh, to, blah. Great. So typically what happens is Chris and I come back and we check within the comments section in between each Wednesday to see if anybody has any questions, and we bring those questions forward. I didn't see any questions asked proactively before I logged in today. So as far as I'm aware, no one has any questions for us. So, but with that, I am going to leave this open to guys. If you want to, again, just feel free to go ahead and ask whatever you like. Just pop it in the comments. Some of the typical questions that we get asked are things like, what is a standard process for accepting a submission? What's standard marketing for a title? What is it that the press does versus what the author does? What kind of stories do we pick up? We actually currently are doing 4 anthologies. So if you've written a novella or a short story that crosses genre, then you'll want to submit to us at runningwildpress.submittable.com and use that as an opportunity to send us your work. You know, it's unusual sometimes to actually find a publication that's publishing novellas. So you may want to take advantage of this opportunity. We also publish a novella anthology that's purely genre stories written by people of color, and then also a short story anthology that's also genre stories written by people of color. So again, you'll want to go to our submittable page at runningwildpress.submittable.com, or rather runningwildpress.submittable.com, and submit based on whichever is the most appropriate submission form. And, we eagerly look forward to seeing your work. If you are new here, hey, nice to meet you. We, again, do this every week for an hour between 4 and 5 p.m. Pacific time, or 7 and 8 p.m. Eastern time. We can talk about whatever you want around publishing, writing, storytelling. We are more than happy to listen to your questions and to provide our best answers. So anyway, right now, actually, some things that you may find, I guess, interesting. So we are in the middle of, currently, or in the tail end of switching distributors. So what that means is that you may have gone online and you may have looked for some of our stories and for a period of time, and it showed as unavailable. And the reason for that is because we were in the middle of switching distributors. Now, if you go online, what you should see is you should see announcements stating that the story is on back order or that it's now available, at least in paperback. In ebook, the majority of the books are now available. There are still a few that are not quite available yet. So just keep a lookout. Just like any other transition, there's always some kind of like gobbledygook challenge um, that we encounter. So we are in the tail end of resolving some of those issues. So we are making sure that we get your favorite stories to you, both in paperback and in ebook. Awesome. Okay, now if for those of you who are new, we actually also we publish around, it's usually around 15 to 20 books per year. We are expanding that because we did launch RIZE, which publishes genre stories written by people of color. And with that, in essence, we're going to be doubling the number of titles that we'll be publishing per year. So instead of it being 15 to 20 in total, it will actually be 30 to 40 in the coming year in 2022. And so, like 15 to 20 in uh, Running Wild, and then 15 to 20 under RIZE. So you'll want to check it out and um, use it as an opportunity to go out there, get your work out there. People want to, they want to read your stories, they want to hear your stories, and we enjoy being the ones to bring forward your fantastic stories. So it looks like Chris is joining us now. I think we may be having a little bit of technical issues today. Um, and we're slowly resolving them. So I hope everybody who's watching, you guys either got your first vaccination or potentially your second as well. I actually just got my second COVID vaccine today. So far, so good. The first time around, I had all of it. I had lethargy and tiredness and all that. So we'll see. Hopefully, this time around, I don't have nearly as much of a trend of issues. Oh, Chris is in the middle of a tornado. Good Lord. God bless you for even joining. Um, Hopefully well, I'm assuming he's okay because he did join us ever so briefly, but um, no big deal. I'm here. So if you guys, again, have questions or comments, again, feel free to go ahead, pop them into the chat, and I will be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. If you have a question for Chris, that's awesome too, because what we can do is I can always pass those questions on to him, and then he can respond to them in uh, the I can always pass them on to him. So sorry. um, Okay, so with that, let me think. What would you guys want to hear about? One thing I think people should be aware of in today's market, most authors actually publish and write in multiple genres. And what I mean by that is that quite a few authors actually, if they write short stories, they also write graphic novels. If they write graphic novels, they also write comic books. If they write screenplays, then they're also writing novels. And keep that in mind, because oftentimes a great story is a great story, and you may want to have it on in multiple forms. And You are in the middle of a tornado. What are you doing calling in to this
Sorry,
number?
we had a tornado yesterday, and it knocked out the internet. And my appointment to have somebody come out is until Friday. So,
Oh,
um, yeah, I had to do some urban engineering to get me online, but I'm here.
I was gonna say, well, first of all, welcome, and second of all, have you lost your mind? Like, are you guys okay? That's what's more important.
I'm I'm sorry. Say that again.
Are you guys okay? Is everyone all right?
Oh yeah, we're good. We're good. We're good. It just knocked out. It was pretty bad storms and tornadoes. It's one touchdown pretty close, but it wasn't. We were okay. We didn't have really any damage outside of the power. I got was off for a little bit, and then the internet didn't come back up. So
Got it. Well, as long as you guys are all right, so that's what's important. So,
yeah.
what was so for everybody who's on, I I'll be putting out this announcement soon. So Chris is actually the new acquisitions editor for RIZE, and I cannot tell you how freaking awesome that this is going to be amazing. I think we work like crazy well together, and I can't wait to see uh, what we come up with. So, um, yeah, it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good
Yeah.
time. Yep. We're actually meeting right after this to talk about all the great stuff that we've got in play for RIZE. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Um, and I'm sure he will be right back. Okay, so for those of you who are watching, um, again, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to go ahead and pop them in the chat, and I will be more than happy to repeat them, and then Chris and I can respond accordingly. So that's all. Chris, if you if your internet's down, if you don't have to join this week. Is everybody okay?
Oh yeah, everybody's okay. Everybody, yeah, we're good. We're good. Nobody was hurt. Like I said, no real damage. Just the
Oh,
internet.
okay. All right. Cool. Um, I was just saying,
But
like, I don't really, no one, I didn't see any new comments or questions for us. I think we're like, uh, it might just be you and me right now,
okay.
online. So,
Okay.
um, yeah, I like rushed home, cause I went and got my second vaccination shot. So,
Oh, nice.
mm-hmm,
Nice.
mm-hmm. Did
So
you
you're
get yours
fully
done?
vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I have mine. I have mine. I keep my card on the refrigerator so I don't lose it because the nurse told me to keep it forever. Apparently, we need to. So, um,
Okay.
I put it somewhere I couldn't lose it.
Mm. I mean, well, what are you gonna do with it other than, um? Well, I don't know. What are
But
you gonna?
but yeah, that I don't know. I mean, my friend has this weird conspiracy. My friend has this weird conspiracy theory
Mm-hmm.
that this is going to cause like some new segregation between people who are vaccinated and people who aren't. We go
Okay.
to, it'll be like vaccinated society and like a lot of things like that. So I keep mine just in case that day comes where you kind of have to walk around, kind of showing proof that you are vaccinated. I think I would have put it in my wallet, but I end up having my wallet lost in the washing machine too often. I don't want to mess the card up.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, I've heard some really interesting conspiracy theories around, like what the second vaccination's really for, and all that kind of mess.
Right.
I don't care.
And
I
in the South, we're pretty religious down here. So
Oh
there's the
yeah.
whole kind of religion thing for a lot of people down here too. It's funny. Um, Yeah, it's funny. Just some of the stuff you hear people say, like it's the end of the world, and you know, the Antichrist, all that stuff. You hear it a lot down here. But I don't know. I got my vaccine, so.
Yeah, I got mine.
Mm.
Here, because I'm in Los Angeles, we don't really hear. I mean, I hear all the conspiracy theories and stuff, not from people here, but from friends from other states, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
And I
yeah,
usually follow up with like, well, why would anybody do that? Like, what's the purpose of it? You know what I
right,
mean? Like,
right.
when they bring forward like, what benefit did they get out of it? And then usually they don't have an answer. So,
Yeah.
um,
I don't know. I think people like to have stuff like that to just, I don't know, talk about. I don't know. It's fun to talk about. I mean, I don't engage. I would engage in that conversation just for, shits and
like,
giggles,
why
but I
not?
don't because, yeah, because it just goes down. You know, yeah. Anyway, it's funny, especially the part of it with the religion and stuff. People thinking it's the end times, and I've heard other folks think they're putting like chips in our bodies to track us and all this kind of stuff. I can assure you, I think we learned anything from the '60s is that if anybody wanted to track us, the FBI wouldn't need to put chips in our arms. I can tell you that. So uh, anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, I it, again, I would, if anybody's watching who's kind of apprehensive about doing it, I would highly suggest doing it. Doesn't mean you can't catch COVID again. It just lowers your chances considerably that you die from it. So I would definitely
Right.
encourage anyone who may be apprehensive about it to go ahead and just, because you'd rather be on the safe side. You rather, yeah, just do it. And I have an uncle who had this thing. He's like already had COVID, and we went into how viruses work. Your body builds up these antibodies after you catch the virus. And his whole argument is, if I already caught it, why would I need to get a vaccine? Because I've built up the antibodies and stuff. And I was like, because the doctors told you to. And it's real funny because there's like there's three people you don't lie to. It's your lawyer, your doctor, and Jesus, another one I can't remember the saying we have, but you gotta trust these people. They know, they like study, dedicate their lives to these kinds of things, to science, to
Right.
healthcare. The doctor tells me to do something. There's a trust there that I have because I don't know what they know, and it's been tested and studied, and yeah. But that first shot, yeah, there are some side effects that people have, but outside of that, yeah, I do it. And again, my uncle, he's gonna get it. He's been a punk. He's gonna get it. He's just,
I just don't see the point.
so
Uh, I when people are sitting here talking about like, oh, really, the vaccine is to weed out it's to weed out the herd. Like, so really, if you get the vaccine, then it'll you'll die if you get COVID. Like it'll the revert. And I'm like, okay, why do you think anybody would do that, people? Like, meaning, like, what's the purpose of it?
right,
What's the whole point of doing that? You know, like
right,
and as soon as I ask that, it's like, well, I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I think I can't. I've never been able to understand the logic behind conspiracy theories or having conspiracy theories. Not to say conspiracies don't happen, but oftentimes they aren't based in logic. Uh, and as far as weeding out people, yeah, I don't know. I can't, and I'm trying.
Oh, he'll be back, guys. No problem. So, for those of you who may be joining us for, if not the first time, for one of your first times, I'm Lisa Kastner, and I'm the founder and executive editor of Running Wild Press. And I am here on Wednesdays with Chris Major, who is our new acquisitions editor for RIZE. where we publish genre stories written by people of color. And we are here to chat about whatever you want, pretty much. I mean, to a certain extent. Obviously, there's might be some topics that we just won't respond to, but by and large, I'd say we do respond to the vast majority of any of the questions or comments that are entered. So I am actually really curious to hear everyone's experiences so far with the vaccine, and if you've gotten your vaccine, did you get both? I heard that there seems to be a rash of people who are getting the vaccine the first shot, but they're not getting the second, and I'm curious why. Why not? If do you view it as like, what's the point? Is it that um, you figure getting it once and you're good, you're immune? I'm just curious. I don't I don't honestly see the harm in getting both vaccines, or both shots.
Sorry
I'm
about
just
that.
saying.
Yeah, I was watching along. I pulled it up on my phone too, so
Oh,
if this
okay.
happens again, I can like know what you're saying. Um, but yeah, I heard you like people. You said people are getting the first, but not the second.
Yeah, it seems as though like a bunch of there's a big rash of people who are they're going ahead and getting the first vaccine, and then they're not going back and getting the second. And I'm just curious
Mm-hmm.
why. You know what I mean?
Saying the side effects of the first makes no sense and stuff like that, and then not go back and get the second one, which I didn't have any side effects on my second dose. That doesn't make any sense to me. And I think it's kind of like a carelessness with that too, because um, I think I always tell people that yeah, we can have strong about other people, but there's that's what it is. We could without the vaccine, and I think a lot of people don't look at that. I think especially a lot of young people typically tend to have this kind of invincibility. I see I'm frozen here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of young people kind of have this, and it goes away as you get older, like this invincibility thing where not me, won't happen to me, couldn't happen to me, but it could.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it can very well be happen to people in your family who you're around, your roommates. I mean, it's a real thing. I mean, but my whole thing, because I was worried I'd forget my second appointment, and I can see how people do that because it's so far away. I was so worried I'd forget to go get my second dose. Um, but luckily, my mom, she and I talk often, and she reminded me. And but yeah, it can be easy to forget that and think that I'll be fine and I'll be okay. And it's like, no, it doesn't work that way. It never works that way when you don't do it. Kind of. Um, but that's weird to me. I don't know why you would. There are real side effects to the first one. Not every. I mean, they're not the same for
Mm-mm. Yeah, some people don't have any side effects. I think it's like 1 in 5 that do.
everybody, but I don't know why you would. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Kind of understand that logic. So then, literally, there's. I mean, because even if you did have side effects, I could see like, oh, I'm afraid that I'll have more and all stuff like that. But if you didn't, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. The vaccine has always been a no-brainer for me, though. I never like. Again, I'm trying to play devil's advocate here and
Mm-hmm.
do the whole how is this person thinking? Get out of myself, try and put myself in their shoes. But I can't. It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I'd like to offer some insight and maybe that fear. But my biggest thing is I think it may be carelessness. I mean, because you get your vaccine, I think you got to wait like 2 weeks or something until you get your next dose.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see how, like, I can legitimately see how someone may forget to go get their second dose. I can see because it's just so far out. Life gets busy. But for me, I want the world to open up again so I can. I mean, my friends and I go get food and stuff, but like again, it's not the same. Like I want to be able to go places. Me and my best friend went clothes shopping for his kids yesterday. And the mall was so dead. It was
Really?
crazy. It was ridiculous.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, like was it was bad.
Now,
Um,
were stores open?
initially I thought I thought, okay, the mall's going out of business or something, or not busy.
Mm.
But at the clothing store, it was talking to the lady, and she was just explaining why it's so quiet, and 'cause yeah, stores are open. Yeah, and you have to wear a mask. Well, you gotta understand, I'm in a red state, so we've been a lot more relaxed on all right, really that uh, I very much have that with that, but yeah, we've been really relaxed throughout. I think back last year, around this time last year, uh, like March, I think we were completely shut down. We had curfews that were strictly enforced, but as last year went on, and as we kind of came into this year, things have been relaxed, and know we we're still
Uh-oh.
required
Uh,
to wear.
so, for those of you who are joining us, I'm Lisa Kastner. This is Chris Major. And God bless Chris, because, man, I don't know if I would have freaking had a tornado yesterday and he still logged in. That takes some, uh, well, I was going to say courage, but that doesn't surprise me about Chris. All right, cool. Are you there? Whoop. So I am curious to hear everybody's experiences so far with the pandemic, and I mean, for some people, this actually ended up being an advantage to them because they were able to expand their businesses, they were able to you know work remotely. Um, they turned it into a positive for them, and I'm not that saying that everybody should have done something like that at all, but it is interesting to see how things transpired. So I'm adding Chris back. It's just taking a sec, guys. And then, so anyway, for those of you who are joining us, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to go ahead and pop them in the comments section. I'm more than happy to talk about whatever you want. I know quite a few people. I'm actually, I mean, I realize I shouldn't be surprised by this, but I'm kind of surprised by the sheer volume of people I know who got laid off during the pandemic. It's pretty significant. Um, and I'm hoping that what we're going to see is an influx of new roles uh, coming back. in the coming months. I mean, now that we have um, a lot more of our country is vaccinated, and I think people have figured out ways to work from home in positions that maybe they weren't able to do in the past, where it wasn't encouraged. So hopefully, we'll continue to see that trend, so that we'll have an increase um, in in jobs in the coming months. So, but Chris, can you hear me?
I think
No. Chris, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, cool. All right,
I'm here.
good. All right, I heard you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. 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 Perfect. But going back to where
Ooh, darn it. Hi, Jose. How are you? Thank you for joining us. Chris will be right back. And for those of you who maybe you haven't joined us in the past, I have two cats. They are the Master and Margarita, and they really love to join us each week. So uh, don't be surprised if there's a little a tuxedo cat coming around to keep us company. All right.
yeah. Sorry about
Chris,
that.
you're
That's so
back.
frustrating. I'll be good. Yeah, I'll be good to go for sure. Our next segment. I'm sorry about this, but going back to what you're saying about people being laid off because of COVID. I walked into a new position, but I was as well.
Oh, I didn't know
I
that.
think one thing. I think I think one thing, like a blessing that came out of that, is that I think a lot of people during this time figured out ways to make money that they hadn't traditionally been able to do, like you said. And I think a lot of people find that they actually like it better than um, having that, doing that better than having to kind of go to the traditional route that they had been working. I have a lot of friends who figured out they were entrepreneurs during this time. Um,
Oh, cool.
yeah, I mean, they did what they had to do to make money. I know one guy had he was just doing t-shirts, um just on a side as a side hustle, and now it's a pretty big thing. He's got a pretty good following. Um, some pretty famous rappers who've kind of shared his stuff on their with their following, stuff like that. He did really well.
He'll be right back. But yeah, a lot of people during the pandemic have discovered side hustles are now becoming, their primary means of income, whether intentionally or unintentionally. So let's see. By the way, nice mug.
Oh, thanks.
So you were saying, so your friend, his t-shirts got shared by some really well-known
Yeah,
rappers.
some really Freddie Gibbs is the rapper. He's pretty popular. He's one of my favorite rappers. But my friend made this. It was a funny T-shirt, and it was funny for the wrong reasons, and it got shared a lot, like the picture and stuff, and his business really took off. So he still works his regular day job, but um, he has that thing, and it does really he does really well. He started heck yeah, he started traveling and stuff. After that happened, I mean, I think he's been to a lot of places over the COVID kind of pandemic. Now, granted, I wouldn't have gone to places like he did because he caught COVID. I think he caught it. He caught him once or twice. I can't remember. But
Oh, wow.
I, I'm sorry.
Mm. I just said wow.
Oh, oh, gotcha. Yeah, but even that, and I picked up in that time I was employed. I started doing DoorDash full time. And found that I actually like that good. It was nice. Getting deliveries. And stuff like that. A lot of people brought. I was accepted. There's this thing with certain attorneys who went and, and um, just work. He started doing he started a handy company where um, he would people would he would he took advantage of an app that I can't remember what it's called, but people post kind of little odd jobs. I need this toilet installed.
Mm.
Does clean. I need cement on my pavement, stuff like that. And what he does is he accepts them. He knows, and he gives them maybe like half or whatever he of the job, and he does that. And I know one time we were at the gas station, and he that somebody posted the on the window, and I said, hey man, you know, here's a in but then I pointed out to him, but he's like, I make that, you know, and we just went, um, and no, she up during this time. He so starting a tow truck um stuff. So
Yeah. So I actually am surprised at the number of people I know who either were laid off or are in transition right now. It's a pretty high number of people. Um, so my hope is that there is a trouble in red. Um, yeah. Jose, if I think you're referencing um, the red states are having a lot of issues, which is true. They are having a lot of issues. Actually, it's interesting because we're all of a sudden California now our cases of COVID are decreasing or holding steady. So we're getting a lot of attention for that right now, which is interesting. I still think it's better to be safer and not go out super frequently, and when you do go out, keep your distance and wear your mask. I realize that somehow something as simple as wearing a mask has become heavily controversial, but I do think why not? Why? What's the harm in wearing a mask? It's not like you're not causing anybody else harm by doing it. So I don't actually understand the hoo ha over all that, but um, you know, and I don't understand the desire to cause others harm. Um, you know, I guess there are some things I'm not meant to understand, I think. um, so yeah, so Chris will be back. I I'm hoping that everything's okay. Yep.
Ugh. Coach.
Hey,
Hey. Jeez. But
it's all good.
yeah, I heard what you said about you guys' cases holding steady and people are watching. You said you got California's a blue state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I found. And there's typically, I mean, we all know the history of the South. There's always been this kind of aversion to anything federal or
Oh God.
logical at times feels like. But um, again, we know what the South is. But I don't know. I really like. We're gonna have, from what I've read and been reading down here, we're gonna have COVID's gonna leave us last before it leaves everybody else here in the South. Like, there aren't because people aren't doing what needs to be done to stay safe.
Yeah, yeah.
So when the rest of the world is kind of, another reason my friend thinks we'll have to carry around some kind of proof that we were vaccinated, because when the rest of the world is kind of coming out of it, we'll be on the South. I think from what I've read too, we'll be on the back end of it, especially rural places, small places, some poor places. Will be the last ones to come out of it. So it's really weird. People fighting for normalcy through all times, um, with less of a threat. So, uh, so yeah, yeah. Um,
Makes sense.
that's one thing. But I'm glad.
Oh. uh, it's all good. It just makes it all the more interesting. So, um, so yeah. Oh, here we go. There you are.
Jeez. Yeah, but like I was saying, yeah, I think that's the problem. People fighting for normalcy and want it back so bad that they go out and kind of break the protocol, which is counterintuitive, counterproductive, because all it does is make this last longer. I'm tired of this. Like I call myself a extroverted introvert. So
Mm-hmm.
like I prefer being alone
Mm-hmm.
or to myself. But if I'm social, I do get something out of socializing. And if I am socializing, like I can do that too. But yeah, people rushing to get back to what their life was before are just delaying it when they don't wear masks or kind of stay sanitary and stuff like that. Um, I know one guy down here who just didn't do any of it, and he caught COVID twice. And fortunately, I was vaccinated when I went to see him.
Mm.
But because people have this whole thing like, oh, it's not that bad, and people are just blowing out of proportion. I don't think, my whole thing is, one, it's been, and two, quarantine wasn't because if you catch this disease, you'll automatically drop dead. Quarantine was because we didn't want to overload the healthcare system, because then more people would
That's
get it,
right.
more people wouldn't be able to be treated, and then more people wouldn't be, yeah, quarantine and all this was to preserve the healthcare system so that it doesn't crash because so many people are getting sick um, at one time. But
Yep.
as a result, there's kind of a casualty of that, is that life as we know it is not what it used to be. I don't think it ever go back to completely what we used to be, but at the same time, yeah, to get out of it, we're gonna have to just do what we need to do. Buck up. I think we could have been out of this months ago. Not months. Well, we just got the vaccine, so I don't know. I think it'd have been a lot easier if people had just followed protocol. I think we may have a little bit longer in this than kind of we would have thought, because the vaccine is coming, and especially if people are not being serious about the vaccine and like getting the first dose, not the second one. Like,
Yeah. I mean, guys, just go ahead. Get the vaccine. I mean, I'm not sure. I agree with Chris. Like, I'm ready. I first of all, I want to acknowledge that this is, I believe this is the fastest that we've ever come back from a pandemic.
Right.
Which is, so I'd like to acknowledge that first of all. And second of all, just get it. Like, this isn't, I'm not sure, like, these are the kinds of controversies that occurred in like the 1600s. The fact that we are having these controversies now, it just, it blows my mind. As if, we don't have anything better to do. Like, this isn't a big deal. Just go get the vaccine, be safe, wash your hands.
Right.
You
should be washing your hands anyway. It shouldn't take a
pandemic.
pandemic to get you to wash your hands. You know what's so funny? Me and my friends joke that like all the kind of like sanitary supplies were like gone when the pandemic first started. We were like, wait a minute, so you guys haven't been using hand soap and hand sanitizer and all this stuff. It was funny because you could go try to get soap and it would be hard to find, and it was just like, geez, you mean to tell me that a lot of you guys have been talking to you, shaking your hands, and you haven't been washing them?
Yep. So that's right.
But yeah, like you said, that's we're at a better advantage than they used to because we have technology and science, advanced science, and people still. I couldn't call it controversy. I could probably call it. I'm sorry. I'd have to kind of call it idiocy, to be honest with you. I couldn't call it controversy because this is a worldwide pandemic. India is going through a resurgent case of where people are dying. But for the simple fact, even if you don't think it'll kill you, like for the simple fact that like again, like I said, I can't that argument by calling it again. I think it's idiocy to not. Every healthcare professional has told us we need to get the vaccine, and they do this for the your mechanic saying you need a new oil.
Oh, so just to piggyback on Chris's thought, if the vast majority of those in the healthcare industry are advocating that you get the vaccine, then get it. I mean, this is no different than any other it's no different to me than getting the flu shot. So what? Go get it.
Yeah.
This is not a big deal.
Again, I don't. It's almost so it takes more energy to not get it than to actually get it. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand. And it doesn't. Initially, before that family friend was able to get my vaccine a little earlier, I went to Walmart and made an appointment. Well, not an appointment. I put my name on the list, and didn't even take them that long to call me. But by the time they called me, I'd already gotten my second dose. But
wow.
You would think that, yeah. I think I signed up for it. It was like 2 weeks later. It was like the next day or the day after we get the first dose of the vaccine. And then again, 2 weeks later, like I said, the only way I can see people get the first and not getting the second is if they forgot. But that's not a good reason. That's not a good excuse. But that's the only kind of way in my head I can kind of rationalize why you would get like a half of a dose. And I hate that. I wish it was one shot and be done with it, but it's not. It's two. Yeah, and most of my friends are getting vaccinated. I don't have a single one who's not. I don't have a single friend who's not getting vaccinated. Not anyone I know personally. Even some of my like, I don't know, acquaintances or people I went to school with, like they're getting it. Like, I don't know a single person not getting the vaccine. I can't think in my head of anybody who I'm like, oh, they're not getting it.
Everybody,
Even that guy who got, even that guy. Go ahead.
I was everybody I know is getting it because they want to be able to go out again. Like they, I
Yes.
mean, I have friends
Jeez.
who are like, they are intentionally waiting to actually go out and like hang out with people until they know that the people that they'll be hanging out with are vaccinated.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I know people who talk about that they don't want to, talk about not getting the vaccine, but at the end of the day, everybody I know, I'm pretty sure, are trying to get their heinies in the front of the line,
Even my. I think. But I don't. Outside of my uncle, kind of giving that debate, I don't know anybody who talks about not getting it. Everybody I know is getting it because we do want to go out. We do want to do things. We do want to travel and not have to worry about catching COVID. I know I do. It doesn't make any sense. And I know if I was hanging out with any of my friends and I end up catching COVID, because you can still catch it with the vaccine, it just looks.
That's right.
I was hanging out with my friends catching COVID because we were hanging out at their house or something, I'd be pissed. Because it's so simple to just get the shot, or shots plural. It's really that simple. Yeah. So yeah. Again, I don't know a single person not getting it. Again, maybe that's why I can't explain why somebody wouldn't. Because I haven't heard an argument from anybody on why they shouldn't. But I doubt there's a good one. I mean, it's weird, and we don't even like you said. This is the fastest time for us to come out of a pandemic. Like, I couldn't imagine. Like, what if we drug this thing out as long as like the Spanish flu or something, and when we didn't have to? That'd be the sad part. Like,
Right.
My friend, when it first started, the pandemic, somebody said that 2 years and 4 waves was how long the Spanish flu lasted. And she said anytime it would get kind of rough when she wanted to go out or do something, she would just keep in her head 2 years, 4 waves, 2 years, 4 waves. But yeah, because like it's kind of get put a time limit on it, and it kind of helps you with the endurance. But in my head, I'm like, if we could have gotten out of this in a year, but we dragged this out because we're not doing. I mean, we actually have a vaccine now, and we're dragging this out. Well, what if the thing goes into 2 years because people just aren't getting vaccinated? What if that's the sole reason? Right? People aren't getting vaccinated. Then it's like, we put ourselves through that. It doesn't make any, doesn't make any sense.
Well, and it was wild because like it was to the day. Like I live near USC and all of the fraternities and sororities, and when COVID first hit, a lot of those fraternities and sororities, they just went on and did their own thing. They acted like they, they couldn't get infected and then were partying like crazy. And I thought, man, 2 weeks, that's all. And like clockwork, 2 weeks later, they're all, MIA. So, I mean, I guess sometimes humans just need to learn the hard way, um, in
But
order to
to be
really
honest, yeah,
understand.
yeah. Unfortunately, some people do have to learn the hard way, but no, those people don't live long. I think, yeah, I don't know. But you said people were partying, like like hanging out and like big groups and stuff, and they're not vaccinated.
Yep. I mean, they're not now, but
Hello.
like earlier last year, I'd say there were at least 1 or 2 waves because of it, because they were just doing whatever they wanted. So, but now they're much more, I'd say, respectful of it. Chris, I can hear you. Well, I can't hear you right now, the second, but I.
Right. Well, I'm not. Yeah, I wasn't talking, but can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Mm. But yeah, I mean, they were just kind of off doing their own little thing. And it was funny because it was like the whole time I just sat there. I'm like, all right, 2 weeks, and yep, like clockwork, 2 weeks. They weren't partying anymore. So
Right. Right.
I was like,
The
okay.
And my thing about it is, even if you don't die from it, like COVID is not a fun. It's not a fun experience. It's not something you just weather like a cold. Like I've had some friends that put them out. Like as far as how they felt. Now sometimes you are asymptomatic, so I won't kind of try and scare anybody into it, but it that way. But I know people who haven't been asymptomatic and who've kind of dealt with it pretty bad. It was pretty rough for a lot of people. I think my brother had. This was before I think it was considered a pandemic and stuff. He thought he had the flu.
Oh,
He felt like crap for a while. We knew what's going on with him, and like again, we just thought it was the flu or something. But then like a week later, COVID, and we're like, oh, he probably caught COVID.
mm,
But he was miserable. And at my last job, my supervisor, he caught it, and he was in pretty bad shape. And he's a young guy, like he was like 20, he's like 26, 27, and he caught it and he put him out.
wow.
Pretty good, yeah. I think people think that though, like especially younger people, like I say younger people, I'm 30, I'm not like 50, 60, 70, but I think a lot of younger people think like there's this invincibility. I got a good what do you call it, immune system. So whatever. But like again, Carter was 26, and he caught it, and it was pretty rough on him. It was pretty rough on him. He was out for a while. But yeah, I can't explain it. I want to go back to and like I don't just want my life to go back to normal. I want the world to go back to normal because I can't explore and go meet new people if everything's closed and shut down or operating at half capacity. I can't, it's not the same. And again, like this isn't the 1600s. We have technology. We can get out of this far sooner than they did. And it seems like if people aren't going to get the vaccine, we're going to just subject ourselves to having to uh, have to kind of deal with this longer. But I'll be honest with you, it sounds like people um who aren't getting the second shot, who are that kind of careless about it. They do sound like that sounds like some, I don't know. I would imagine they're super young people who kind of can't see tomorrow. Um,
Yeah, maybe.
uh, I don't know. I mean, because I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Uh, I admit, so I literally got my second shot today, my second vaccine today, and I saw a lot of families. I was actually kind of proud of that. I was happy to see that, parents were coming in with their teenagers, and everyone was getting the vaccine. Uh, Much better than everything that I've heard around individuals really not wanting to come in and not get the second shot. So yeah.
Yeah, I can just attribute that to carelessness. That's all it is. I don't think it's this kind of apprehension of. It's just carelessness. Because obviously you cared enough to get the first one.
Right.
But
That's fair.
um, but yeah, this kind of drops off. I don't get how that would drop off if you got the first one. I imagine it was like I don't know. I can't get in that headspace. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I can't even try and get in that headspace. But
Mm-mm. It's like if you're gonna get the first one, may as well
um,
get the second. So yeah.
yeah, like that's what I'm saying. I can't, and I'm trying to connect that. Um, but again, all I can say is just forgetting. I don't know. The only way I see something like that happening in a logical world, is forgetting your date and then having to. But that doesn't mean you don't get the second dose. You just have to go back and get the second dose. But um,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's rough for people to not take it seriously. It's like the very thing you want is on the other end of a second dose of a freaking vaccine. Everything you want is on the other end of that dose, and that
Yep.
second dose. And
So just do it.
yeah, just get it.
Just do it. All right. Well, with that, I want to thank Chris for another Ask Us Anything. Guys, if you have any questions for us, go ahead, pop it in the chat, and we will go back and double check it during the week and respond to any questions that we get during between now and next Wednesday. So with that, I wish you a fantastic week, and we will talk to you soon.